deep in the rugged mountains of West Virginia, a place where fog clings to the treetops and old mining towns crumble in silence. Something strange has always lurked in the shadows. From bizarre creatures to chilling encounters that made national headlines, this state might be one of the most mysterious places in America. Today, we're diving into the stories that locals still whisper about. Before we begin, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. The Mothman. In the quiet town of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, the fall of 1966 was supposed to be ordinary. But the moment two young couples reported a winged creature stalking them near the old TNT area, everything changed. They described it as a massive, dark figure, 7 feet tall, with a wingspan wider than a car and glowing red eyes that locked onto them through the darkness. What began as one sighting quickly exploded into something much bigger. Over the next 13 months, more than 100 people across the region claimed to see the same thing. Some watched it glide over the Ohio River without ever flapping its wings. Others said it perched on rooftops, staring inside windows like it was studying them. A few even reported strange humming sounds filling the air before the creature appeared. The TNT area itself only made the mystery worse. It was a crumbling maze of abandoned explosive bunkers, half swallowed by vines and trees. Locals already avoided it at night, saying it felt wrong, haunted, or somehow radioactive. But after the sightings began, fear turned to full-on panic. Police patrolled the roads. Hunters searched the woods. Reporters flooded into town. And every night, people whispered that the creature had returned. One of the strangest patterns came from eyewitnesses who said the creature didn't behave like an animal at all. It didn't attack. It didn't run. It simply watched. Silent. Still. The red eyes were always the same detail, bright, burning, almost mechanical. A few witnesses even claimed their radios acted strange or their eyes burned after seeing it, like they were exposed to something unnatural. Then came December 15th, 1967. Rush hour on the Silver Bridge, connecting Point Pleasant to Ohio. Without warning, the entire structure violently buckled and collapsed into the freezing river below. Cars plunged into the water. 46 people died. It remains one of the worst bridge disasters in American history. And here's where the legend took a darker turn. Many locals believed the Mothman sightings were connected to the collapse. Some said the creature appeared on the bridge earlier that day. Others claimed it was a warning, something trying to alert the town to the disaster they couldn't see coming. Still, others believed it was a sign of an ancient curse, or that the creature fed off tragedy. But the most chilling detail? After the day the bridge fell, the Mothman sightings stopped. Completely. No more reports. No more red eyes in the woods. Nothing. To this day, Point Pleasant embraces the mystery, but older residents still refuse to talk about what they saw. Some swear it was a supernatural omen. Others quietly believe it was something extraterrestrial. And a few say the creature is still out there, waiting to appear before the next disaster. Whether it was a warning, a monster, or something far beyond what we understand, the Mothman left behind one undeniable truth. West Virginia's darkest secrets aren't just legends, they're reminders. Lake Shawnee Abandoned Amusement Park. Hidden deep in the woods of Mercer County, West Virginia, sits one of the eeriest places in the entire state, the Lake Shawnee Abandoned Amusement Park. Today, it's nothing but rusted rides, broken swings, and an unsettling silence. But the land beneath it has a history far darker than most visitors ever realize. Long before the park existed, this area belonged to the indigenous Shawnee people. In the late 1700s, a violent conflict erupted when European settlers pushed into their territory. Several members of the Clay family were killed, including children, and in retaliation, settlers executed Shawnee captives. The land was soaked in tragedy before the first ride was ever built, and many believe those events left a shadow that never truly faded. Fast forward to 1926. Entrepreneur Conley Snidow purchased the land and opened a small amusement park, complete with a swing ride, swimming area, carnival games, and a Ferris wheel. At first, it was a happy place. Families came every summer, kids ran through the grass, and music echoed across the lake. But underneath the laughter, something darker was waiting. Over the next few decades, the park was plagued by a series of horrific accidents, most of them involving children. One of the most chilling stories is that of a little girl wearing a pink ruffled dress. She was riding the swings when a delivery truck backed into the ride, striking her and killing her instantly. The swing where she died is still there today, rusted, twisted, and often seen swaying on its own even when the wind is still. Another tragedy unfolded at the lake itself. A young boy drowned after getting trapped in the murky water near one of the park's diving platforms. Despite attempts to save him, he vanished beneath the surface before help could arrive. Locals say his spirit still lingers near the water, and some paranormal investigators claim to hear splashing where no one is standing. By the 1960s, accidents, lawsuits, and eerie rumors forced the park to shut down. For decades it sat untouched, slowly being swallowed by weeds and vines. But when the property owners later began to clear the land, they uncovered something shocking. The remains of at least 13 indigenous individuals, many of them children. Archaeologists believe there may have been a much larger burial site beneath the park, confirming that the land itself had been disturbed long before the rides ever went up. Today, the amusement park is a hotspot for paranormal investigators, thrill seekers, and anyone brave enough to walk its grounds at night. Visitors report seeing the girl in the pink dress wandering between the swings. Others hear disembodied laughter, footsteps, or the creaking of the Ferris while turning even though it's been frozen in place for half a century. Some investigators claim they've been shoved, scratched, or pushed while exploring the grounds, as if something wants them gone. Whether you believe in hauntings or not, one thing is undeniable. Lake Shawnee is a place where tragedy echoes through every rusted bolt and abandoned ride. And for many who visit, the amusement park feels anything but abandoned. The Sodder children disappearance. On Christmas Eve, 1945, the Sodder family home in Fayetteville, West Virginia, stood warm and glowing with holiday lights. George and Jenny Sodder, Italian immigrants, had raised 10 children in that house. But by sunrise on Christmas morning, 5 of them would vanish without a trace. And for nearly 80 years, the truth has remained hidden behind lies, silence, and suspicion. That night, the younger children begged to stay up late. Jenny allowed it. The older kids went to sleep. George and Jenny went to bed around 10 p.m. And for a short moment, everything was peaceful. But around 1 a.m., Jenny was jolted awake by a strange sound on the roof, like a heavy object hitting and rolling. Moments later, the smell of smoke filled the hallway. Flames were already pouring out of George's office downstairs. George and Jenny rushed to wake the family. 4 of the children escaped, but the 5 youngest, Maurice, Martha, Louis, Jenny, and Betty, were still upstairs. When George tried to reach them, the staircase was already engulfed. He ran outside to grab the ladder that always sat by the house, but it was gone. He ran to the trucks to drive them next to the window. The engines wouldn't start, even though they had worked the day before. Neighbors rushed in with buckets, but the water froze in the December air. And when the fire department finally arrived, it was already too late. The house was nothing but ash. Here's where the mystery truly begins. Fire officials claimed the children burned completely, leaving no bones behind, something forensic experts say is nearly impossible. A house fire, especially one that lasted less than an hour, doesn't cremate bodies. Yet investigators found no remains, not even fragments. Jenny became obsessed with finding answers. She burned animal bones in fire after fire. None ever fully disappeared. She wrote to the government, universities, scientists. Every reply told her the same thing. Those children could not have turned to ash. Then came the sightings. Multiple witnesses reported seeing the children alive, in cars, restaurants, even at a hotel in Charleston. A woman claimed she saw them with strangers the morning after the fire. A waitress said they came in for breakfast. A local bus driver told police he saw people throwing burning objects onto the Sodder roof that night, exactly matching Jenny's memory of the thud before the fire. The strangest clue surfaced in 1968, a photograph mailed to the Sodder family with no return address. It showed a young man who looked eerily like Louis Sodder, who would have been in his 20s. On the back was a cryptic message. "I love brother Frankie. Ill boys." A 90132 or 35. To this day, no one knows what it means. George and Jenny believe their children were kidnapped, possibly because George openly criticized the Italian government, and local threats were made against him before the fire. Some think it was arson. Others believe it was a cover-up involving officials who refused to investigate. But the most chilling part? The Sodder family kept a billboard on Route 16 for decades, covered with the children's faces and the question, what was their fate? And after all these years, no one can answer it. Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. Standing ominously in Weston, West Virginia, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum is a place that seems to exist outside of time. Built in the mid-1800s to house just 250 patients, it quickly became overcrowded, holding over 2,400 at its peak. Within its cold stone walls, thousands of men and women endured unimaginable conditions: neglect, experimental treatments, and the crushing weight of isolation. Walking through the massive corridors, it's easy to feel the sense of despair that lingered here. The asylum was designed with lofty ideals, a place of healing, a sanctuary for the mentally ill, but reality quickly fell short. Patients were often chained, sedated, or left in filth due to overcrowding and understaffing. Beds were stacked 3 high in rooms meant for 1 or 2. Privacy, comfort, even basic human dignity was nearly non-existent. The asylum's history is filled with dark and tragic stories. Patients subjected to harsh restraints and lobotomies. Suicides hidden in official records. Medical experiments that today would be considered cruel and inhumane. Families were often kept in the dark, unaware of the suffering happening inside these stone walls. Even death was not an escape. Bodies were buried in unmarked graves on the property, and rumors say some never made it there at all. Today, the asylum is abandoned in many parts, yet it remains eerily alive to those who explore it. Paranormal investigators and thrill-seekers alike report unexplained phenomena. Lights flicker in empty halls. Doors slam shut without cause. Shadows move across the walls, disappearing when approached. Some visitors hear whispers echoing down the long, deserted corridors. Others claim to feel invisible hands tugging at their clothing or brushing past them in the dark. The building itself seems to breathe with history. The massive Gothic-style structure, with its towering windows and stone arches, casts long, twisting shadows at dusk. It's easy to imagine the patients walking the halls, their voices carried through time, trapped in the very walls built to contain them. Even guides on tours report an uneasy feeling that sometimes you are not alone, that the echoes of the past are more than just stories. Trans-Allegheny is more than a historic site. It is a testament to the mistakes of the past, a place where tragedy, neglect, and human suffering converge. Every step through the asylum is a step into history, but also into a lingering darkness that refuses to be forgotten. For those brave enough to enter, the asylum offers a chilling reminder. Some places carry the weight of every soul who suffered within them. And in Weston, West Virginia, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum continues to whisper its stories of desperation, sorrow, and the ghostly echoes of lives lived and lost behind stone walls. The Grafton Monster. In 1964, the quiet town of Grafton, West Virginia, became the setting for one of the most bizarre and unsettling cryptid sightings in American history. Locals describe a creature so strange, so otherworldly, that it was unlike anything they had ever seen. A being that seemed almost human, yet terrifyingly unnatural. The first reports came from a newspaper reporter who claimed to have chased the creature along the railroad tracks. He described it as a towering, pale figure, smooth-skinned and hairless, standing at least 9 feet tall. Its face was indistinct, almost featureless, giving it a haunting, alien quality. Locals who later saw it reported a gelatinous, headless appearance. Some even described it as a walking blob rather than a traditional creature. Witnesses were terrified. They said it moved in an unnervingly silent, gliding manner, almost as if it floated above the ground. Unlike most animals, it showed no fear of humans. On the contrary, it seemed aware of them, watching from the shadows with eerie, unblinking eyes. Children reportedly ran home screaming after glimpsing its pale form in the nearby woods. Adults dismissed it at first, until more people began reporting sightings across the town. Newspaper articles chronicled the accounts, and soon the story spread beyond Grafton. Local authorities attempted to investigate, but the evidence was elusive. Tracks found near the sightings didn't match any known animal. Some skeptics claimed the creature was a hoax, while others believed it was a mutated experiment or even extraterrestrial in origin. The U.S. government's interest in the case, if it existed, remains a matter of speculation, adding a layer of mystery to an already eerie story. Over time, the Grafton monster became part of the town's folklore. Sketches and newspaper photos helped cement its image in the public imagination, and cryptid enthusiasts across the country began to reference it in discussions of unexplainable creatures. Some modern investigators have returned to the railroad tracks, searching for signs or evidence, but decades later, nothing has been conclusively found. What makes the Grafton monster so disturbing isn't just its appearance. It's the feeling it left behind. Locals often speak of an oppressive, unnerving presence whenever the story is recounted. The idea that something unknown, massive, and intelligent might be watching quietly from the woods leaves a lingering sense of fear. Even today, the Grafton monster is remembered as one of West Virginia's most haunting mysteries. Its unusual, almost alien form and the sheer strangeness of the reports make it stand out among cryptids and paranormal stories alike. Whether it was a misunderstood animal, an experimental escapee, or something entirely beyond explanation, the Grafton monster reminds us that sometimes the unknown can lurk just beyond the familiar streets of a quiet town, waiting for the next person to stumble upon it. The Greenbrier ghost. In Greenbrier County, West Virginia, a murder case occurred in 1897 that would become one of the most unusual in American history. And it wasn't solved by detectives, witnesses, or evidence alone. It was solved by a ghost. Zona Hester Shue was a young woman, married to Erasmus Shue. By all appearances, she was healthy and full of life. But one January day, Zona was found dead in her home. The local doctor declared her death natural, and the town mourned what seemed like a simple tragedy. Zona was quickly buried, and the community assumed the matter closed. But her mother, Mary Jane Hester, was not convinced. In the nights following Zona's death, she claimed that Zona's spirit visited her in dreams. The ghost appeared pale and somber, dressed in a long gown, and delivered a terrifying message. "He killed me, he strangled me. He is the one who did this." At first, Mary Jane hesitated to act. Who would believe a mother claiming that her deceased daughter had returned from the grave? But the ghost persisted, appearing night after night and providing details only Zona could have known. The spectral warnings pointed directly to Erasmus, her husband, revealing not only the act of murder, but also the exact method: strangulation. Driven by a mixture of fear and determination, Mary Jane convinced local authorities to exhume Zona's body. What they discovered shocked everyone. Clear signs of strangulation that had been overlooked by the initial examination. The evidence confirmed the ghost's account. A supernatural witness had effectively solved a murder. Erasmus Shue was arrested and put on trial. During the proceedings, Mary Jane testified about the ghostly visitations, and the court accepted her testimony as evidence corroborating the physical findings. In a remarkable and unprecedented verdict, Erasmus was convicted of murdering his wife, making Zona's ghost the only supernatural witness ever used in a U.S. court to secure a conviction. Newspapers across the nation reported the case with fascination and disbelief. People were captivated by the idea that a spirit could reach through the veil of death to demand justice. To this day, the Greenbrier ghost remains one of the most bizarre and chilling legal cases in American history, a perfect blend of true crime and the supernatural. Zona's story continues to capture imaginations. Visitors to Greenbrier County often explore the cemeteries and old homes, some claiming they can feel her presence lingering. Her mother's bravery, combined with the eerie supernatural intervention, left a mark on history and a reminder that some mysteries aren't solved by humans alone. The Greenbrier ghost proves that even in death, some voices cannot be silenced. Sometimes justice comes from the most unexpected place, from beyond the grave. If you made it this far, thanks for watching. Which story disturbed you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you enjoyed this, hitting like and subscribe really helps the channel a lot.